Hello everyone, Spider Fanboy here to bring you part 4 of What If Grandpa Survived, of What If Grandpa Gohan Survived. Sorry, uh, just a little tired. It's a little earlier for me to record than usual, but yeah, let's go on ahead and just jump straight into part 4. We left off with the 4-year time skip between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Uh, and I'm gonna go ahead and clear up a few things regarding the 4-year time skip. I mentioned that humans, specifically Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, and Chaozu, they've all kind of contemplated what they want to do. They've all kind of settled down, and they ended up participating in the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament that would have taken place just a year before Dragon Ball Z, if I'm correct. Um, so, uh, blah. It says here on the timeline that Vidal's mom dies sometime after her daughter's birth, probably due to complications, and in age 756. So, which puts her around just a little over a year or so older than Gohan, which is why they end up in the same class after he's older because he was in the time chamber for that 1 year. But yeah. At the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament, we're gonna say that which would have been what in age 761, no, 760. Yeah, it would have been someplace during 760, and we'll say that humans are the ones to meet up at this World Martial Arts Tournament, instead of just it being regular martial artists. Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu end up meeting up, and Ox King once again sends in Yajirobe, so that with the once again the bribe of an increased pay and better food, a good feast when he gets back, depending on his placement. And here they meet the single father struggling to pay for his daughter's livelihood and to keep him off the streets. Mark Satan. Yeah, we're gonna introduce Hercule early, and here he ends up facing off against Yajirobe in the first match, and he ends up losing and he's real down in the dumps about it. And like I mentioned before, Ox King specifically took Yajirobe in because he saw a lot of his younger self in him. Uh, he really valued his strength and his own personal needs above all else, so he took him in to straighten him out, and he mostly has. And because of this, Yajirobe ends up talking to the guy after the match. He talks to Mark, he explains the situation, and he thinks that well, maybe this good deed would probably get him a solid pay raise if he ends up losing the next match against, let's say his next match is going to be against Tien, who ended up beating Krillin in their match. And yeah, he's definitely worried. He's like, ooh, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get further than this win. So he decides to help out Mark and sets him up with Ox King, uh, and because of this, better act as Yajirobe's sparring partner and another elite guard for Fry Pan Mountain and Ox King's Kingdom. Um, he ends up moving over to Fry Pan Mountain with his daughter Videl, and he begins training under Ox King and training with Yajirobe. So these two are going to be sparring partners, and yeah, and they're gonna be the one. All these humans are gonna be the ones dominating these martial arts tournaments. It's not gonna be for anyone else unless they're busy or dead. You know how Dragon Ball is. So yeah, we end up getting introduced to Hercule a bit earlier. He's introduced to the rest of the group through Yajirobe, and he actually ends up meeting Goku and Chi Chi and little Gohan when they end up visiting Grandpa Ox. So he ends up learning about all their background and he learns about their stories. And he's definitely skeptical, but they're able to quickly dissuade him of any. Oh, this is just another trick. Ha ha! I'm Mark Satan. I'm Mr. Satan. Yeah. Um, he ends up learning about Ki, and he ends up learning a little bit about their background, the fact that Goku is an alien, and technically Gohan is half alien. Chi Chi is the princess of this land, which makes their interactions a little awkward. But Chi Chi eventually is like, just treat me normally, and we'll be fine. And Videl and Gohan end up being introduced to each other. They end up growing as playmates and childhood friends here. So that's gonna be cool. And apparently, it says here the events of Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone take place. It's gonna be a complete wash. Kami ends up dealing with Garlic Jr. personally and just completely wipes them all out. And here, after Raditz goes to Raditz ends up deciding to he makes his decision to go to retrieve Goku, and he eventually arrives on Earth, and the first power level he ends up sensing is Tien. Maybe he's cleaning up. Like I said, he's taking in some contracts in his free time from the world government to clear out any wannabe Red Ribbon armies. So he's been taking them out, maybe alongside Launch, but he ends up being confronted by Raditz, and he ends up reading his power level is near equal to is suppressed right now. Everyone's only been leisurely training. They haven't been training as intensely. They're still keeping it up, but it's not as intensely, so they're probably only seeing around a 2 times increase amongst the humans. And this is what I ended up having them as before. Yajirobe was at a 420, but he's gonna be having a sparring partner, and that sparring partner of his is gonna grow with him. So Yajirobe is going to be, maybe we'll put him around 950 max. With Mark is going to be around a 780, 784. Those two I'm not going to be taking as seriously because they're not going to be too important right now. They're not going to be the ones confronted, but Chaozu. Chaozu is going to be at around a, let's see, I'm going to give him like a 2, I'm going to give a 2 times increase to Chaozu. So 850 times 2 puts him at a 1700. Technically stronger than Raditz, but you know his stature is definitely not going to be helping him. Yamcha is definitely going to be receiving like a 2.5 times increase, which puts him at 2,125. 2,125. Krillin is going to also be receiving that same 2.5 times increase. Wait, hold on. Oops. Did I have it as 850? Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Sorry, I don't know why. He should be like a 945. Or not, 850 is fine. Yeah. So, yeah. No, he'll be around 2125. And Krillin was at 950. So, this will put him at around 2375. Or I'll have them equal. Because Krillin has been traveling instead of just solidly training in one place. But Yamcha has also been enjoying the luxury. So yeah, they'll be seeing about the same increase. They've all been given like personal gravity chambers or gravity belts, whatever you want to come up with, so that they can increase their training. And Tien is seeing the biggest, or not so much the biggest increase, similar increase, but since he has a larger power level to start with, he's going to be much stronger. 1075. 1075 times 2 puts him around 2,688. 2688. So he's much stronger than Raditz, and because of this, he's approaching this with caution. He's not going to be immediately jumping to oh, where is my brother Kakarot? He's like, oh. He approaches him cautiously when he notices his power level, and Tien could sense him coming from a mile away. And as this confrontation is happening, Kami and Piccolo, who are watching from the lookout, they end up sending a telepathic message to Goku, who, let's say that they're having a family get together. It's Goku, Chi-Chi, Ox King, Grandpa Gohan. They're all chilling at Fry Pan Mountain, or maybe at Kame House. So Roshi is definitely there. Yajirobe and Mark decided to join along, and Mark brought along little baby Videl. And yeah, they're all relaxing at Kame House. Maybe they're at Fry Pan Mountain. Either way, they're all relaxing. They're having a family get together, and Chi-Chi and Goku end up getting the message that his brother, of all people, has arrived. Kami was able to read his mind and his intentions from here without alerting him, and he was able to discover this is his brother. So he tells Goku, and he's very excited, but he's also a little cautious. He's wondering why he's come to him. He was always preparing to go out and find him himself. So he's a little suspicious, and he's wondering what exactly he should do. Chi-Chi tells him to go on ahead to meet with him. If he's really with Tien, he may be able to keep things calm, but it's best that he gets there as quickly as possible, and to probably bring him here to be introduced so that they can all talk. So Goku decides to go on ahead and do that, and he flies on over, probably meets up with Piccolo halfway, and I'm gonna go on ahead and cover their power levels real quick too. So Goku was at a 2107. They've been, they have not been intensely training. They've more been mastering what they have. Piccolo's the one who's been intensely training, so he can keep up with their transformations. Chi-Chi has perfected her Ox Princess into her Ox Queen state. So instead of just giving her a 2.5 to 3.5, it's given her a solid 5.5 times increase. So that's going to be what she's going to have going forward. And her base power level, I'm going to give Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi has been training a little bit more so that she can keep up with Goku than Goku has been training. The most intense thing he's been doing is helping Gohan master his power. He hasn't really been training too much, um, but from Videl's insistence in like encouraging him, he's been picking up some basic martial arts training and ki control. When Videl saw her own father and Yajirobe learning how to shoot out lasers, and when she saw Gohan's parents learn how to fly, she decided she wanted to learn to do that. So the two of them have been doing some basic stuff. Not so much doing much for Videl, but definitely for Gohan more so. And even if she can't fly, Gohan lets her use the Nimbus while he himself flies around her. This sweet little childhood crush thing. But they're not really into that just yet. They're too young. But yeah. So Gohan is probably about a 50, just suppressed. He's not constantly expressing his power, so he's just at a 50. Chi-Chi is going to be. I'm gonna give her a solid, same 2.5 increase that the strongest of the humans are getting, or maybe a little higher. I'll give her like a 3.5. So she is 1116 times 3.5 puts her at a 3906. She is at 3906 in her base, which in her transform state would put her at around 3906 times 5.5, 21,000. Oh shit, she's definitely OP as hell. And Goku is going to just receive the 2.5 times increase. Or we'll see. Let me see what I'm feeling with 3.5 times, similar to Chi-Chi. Yeah, that's good. 3.5 times increase puts him at 7375. So 7,000, 7375, 7,375. Piccolo is seeing the most training. He has been constantly training with Kami. So I'm going to put him from his 1303, I believe. His 1300, sorry, his solid 1300. And I'm going to give him an 8.5 times increase in terms, or just a solid 10.5, which puts him at a 13,650. And with his gigantic state, puts him around a similar level to Chi-Chi. So 13,650. And Kami himself has also been upping his training. He's been training so that he can remain as the Guardian. It's a little bit of a pride thing that he probably has from King Piccolo and from being around Piccolo himself. He's definitely inherited a level of pride, so he jumps from his original 6,500 to 65,000. he goes for that same 10 times increase in power. He's always training in private. If he's not training Piccolo, who will occasionally go out to travel the world, um, or spend time with Goku and his family, then he is like training with Popo, occasionally making visits to the time chamber, which he has also enhanced so that it's able to allow you to go in more than twice. There's no more of that two limits in a lifetime. He's definitely been working on that. Maybe even been working on the Dragon Balls to give him 3 wishes instead. Um, Maybe he hasn't, but he probably will going forward. But yeah, 65,000 for Kami. And Goku ends up going to meet up with he meets up with his brother and Tien, and when they end up meeting each other, and Raditz is kind of awestruck about the fact that Goku looks so much like their father. He's even wearing some kind of improvised Saiyan armor. I'm changing up his outfit. He's gonna have like a revised Saiyan armor, kind of similar to Bardock's. It's gonna be that no shoulder strap, no none of that shoulder pad stuff. The simple Saiyan armor. He wears the Saiyan armor on top of his gi, and the colors for it are gonna be what should I have the colors be? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so he's gonna be wearing his GT outfit, his GT gi, and over it he's gonna have his GT style gi, and over it he's gonna have a black black armor with blue, or no, it's gonna be a dark blue armor with gold, so that it can match his blue gi top and gold yellow pants. So it's gonna be a dark blue armor with the gold design. So dark blue and gold yellow, and yeah, dark blue and gold yellow with his blue gi top under it and his yellow pants. Maybe he thinks that wearing the armor will help kind of settle. He normally wears the gi, but he decides to manifest the armor. He's learned the clothes beam and stuff, him and Chi Chi, so that they can make their own weighted armor on the fly and just remove it whenever they want to, like remove the weight from it. But yeah, he wears it so that he can so that he can, when he meets with Raditz, maybe he'll put a little more at ease. They end up talking. Goku explains his life here, how he initially lost his memories for a brief time, but they returned to him, and he's been living his life here, growing in strength, so that he can venture out to find them. And Raditz is actually he's a little touched by this, but he's also definitely a cynic and still kind of cruel after all his time spent with Vegeta and Nappa. Uh, but Goku doesn't know about the communication feature of the Scouter, and Raditz is still leaving it open. And they're sharing stories with one another, and Goku ends up making mention of the Dragon Balls. Like he ends up bringing him over to Kame House. He invites Tien and Launch, who are there, taking care of their assignment, and Chiaotzu. But they're like, no, we need to meet up with the world government, respond in about our mission success. We'll head out to Capsule Corp and send messages to Krillin and Yamcha and inform them about all this. And he's like, okay. And as they're flying back over to Kame House, Goku ends up introducing Piccolo, and he's like surprised to find a Namekian here, which sparks again their conversation about the Dragon Balls, which Vegeta and Nappa are overhearing. And when they end up getting to Kame House, he sees Gohan and Chi Chi, and he ends up asking Goku directly, "Is this your mate and your child?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is my wife and my child, Gohan." And Raditz makes a little comment about that not being exactly a Saiyan name, but Goku explains that he actually does have a Saiyan name for him picked out that he typically uses himself. He's the only one to really use it, since everyone else addresses him by his Earth name, but he calls him by Daikon. Little reference, because I really don't think we're going to be getting any Ranch stuff here. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, no, his Saiyan name is Daikon. And this actually piques Raditz's interest, and he asks the little kid if he's cool with that name, like if he really does go by the name. And he's like, yeah, it's what my dad calls me. And he's like, well, it's what I'll be calling you from now on as well. I'm your Uncle Raditz. It's nice to meet you. And Gohan is going to be spoiled by so many uncles: Uncle Mark, Uncle Uncle Piccolo, Uncle Raditz, and kind of his Uncle Yajirobe, his uncles in Krillin and Yamcha and Tien, because they've all been meeting up every now and again. They didn't go to the World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku and Chi-Chi, although if they did, they would have just went to watch. Um, but I don't think they would have. Maybe they did so that Chi-Chi was able to help smooth over the process of getting Mark hired by Ox King. But either way, they've only met in like they've met up at Capsule Corp every now and again. They introduce little Gohan, so he's all aware of the Z Fighters and everyone, and he's aware of all their stories and stuff. But yeah, and Raditz ends up explaining a little bit more about the race and what they've been doing. Goku specifically asks him, "Have you been working under Frieza?" And Raditz ends up asking, "How did you know that?" And he's like, "Well, I used the Dragon Balls." And he's like, "Right, those wish orbs." And at this point, Raditz is feeling a little guilty. These people have been so welcoming, so he ends up disabling his scouter, and he tells them about the open communication, about the fact that Vegeta and Nappa have definitely been listening in, and there's a possibility Frieza has been as well. He definitely wasn't expecting this, and he didn't even think about it until just now. But he ends up telling them like it's possible that they're going to be here, and they're not going to be as nice as me. Things seem good here, but at the end of the day, Frieza is going to come here eventually. And if he knows about the Namekian being here, he may even end up going straight to your homeworld. He doesn't exactly like he's not as open about it, but he ends up giving them like a few details of like, they've been listening in and like they're able to piece together, they come up with the idea. They may even go to Namek. And Goku's like, "Well, I guess we should be prepared to meet them." And and Raditz ends up clarifying, yeah, Vegeta is not going to be coming in peace. He may come here with an offer, but it's very likely he'll be seeking to sell this planet. And this is where Goku puts his foot down. He's like, "This planet isn't going to be sold. I'm not going to sell it to that bastard Frieza, especially after what he did." And this is where Raditz ends up learning. Like, he ends up getting it confirmed. Vegeta, and Nappa definitely suspected it, but it ends up being confirmed that Frieza was the one to destroy Planet Vegeta, which Goku learned about after hearing, the story about the Saiyans from Shenron. So he ends up deciding, well, what is it you're going to even do? And Goku ends up displaying his power briefly. He flares into the Ikari state, and Raditz is left in wonder. And Goku's like, "Well, you kind of helped make this mess, even if it wasn't completely your intention. So if you really want to prove yourself, you can help out your family, and by training with us and getting us and telling us what we need to know about them." Raditz is definitely reluctant. He doesn't want to face against Vegeta, but his scouter still picked. He disabled the communication function, but he could pick up. It was able to record Goku's power level. And after this, he ends up destroying it so that he doesn't have to worry about accidentally reactivating it. He ends up destroying it so that it only has Goku's faint read of around 20,000 in terms of power level. Because he didn't flare completely into his full power. He only let it a little bit, but it was enough to put him over the 20,000 mark. So it ended up being destroyed, or he destroys it himself. But Raditz decides, fine, I'll train with you, and I'll train with all of you, and we'll see if we're ready enough to take on Vegeta and Nappa. So we end up with a different situation than in canon. Raditz is in a bit of a he's not exactly he's not exactly sure where he stands with everyone. Chi-Chi's a little suspicious of him, as is Piccolo. Goku is cautiously optimistic, whereas Gohan and Videl are very interested. They have a childlike wonder in their eyes. And Kami ends up getting into contact with them after he's been surveying the situation. He's like, "Well, not that you're gonna need it, but it's best to be prepared, especially if we may end up facing against that Frieza character." So he ends up making the offer of training with King Kai. Specifically, he makes it to Goku, Piccolo, and Chi-Chi. But Goku ends up explaining that he wants to stay here to train with his brother, to use the power of the Great Ape, to access the power of Ikari, and if he needs to, as a last resort, just in case he ends up being confronted, he wants to train Gohan in how to fight. Chi-Chi wants to protest this, and she actually does. Her and Goku actually get into a bit of an argument. His training was supposed to be something that was completely his choice, but Gohan ends up interrupting. He's heard, like I said, he's grown up with the stories that his father and his mother have been through. He wants to be strong so that he doesn't get caught up in a situation like where they were unprepared to face off against King Piccolo. He wants to be strong enough so that he can protect the people he cares about. And he ends up listing Videl. He's a child. And she ends up like, I want to train too. And her training isn't going to be as effective because she's still a human. But she does have some potential, especially since she's born to a very powerful human. So she's going to have some decent amount of potential, but she's not going to be going strong enough to properly fight. If I'm correct, she should be around 5 years old, whereas Gohan is around his 3.5, almost 4. But or yeah, we'll just say that he's like 3. He's like 3 in a few months. He's like 3.5, yeah, because this is what, September? This is October. Okay. So they end up making their plan, and after some discussion, they end up meeting up at Capsule Corp. They're all there to discuss everything, and this is how their training is going to go. So the Olden Masters, Yajirobe, or the Old Masters are going to be the ones in charge of training the kids. Mark and Yajirobe are going to be training for the next 3 to 6 months, depending on how their progress goes. They're going to be training for about they'll just train for 4 months. They're going to be training for 4 months with Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, and Chaozu in the gravity chamber at Bulma's place, which goes up to 15 times normal gravity. Or we'll just say that it goes up to around 10 to 15 times normal gravity. Goku is going to be training with Raditz so that he can train him to unleash the power of the Great Ape to properly master it and to master Ikari. He may end up taking him into the time chamber to help him do that, but that's what he's going to be focusing on. And every month, no matter what, he's going to be training Gohan to master the power of the Great Ape. He's taken him before for like the past year. He's been taking him out. Him and Chi-Chi have taken him out to experience transforming into a Great Ape. He can't control it, but he can't completely control it, but he can recognize it. So he can recognize people while in the state. Similarly to when Goku was training the form, and Chi-Chi ended up helping him. Videl ended up sneaking past everyone, and Goku and Chi-Chi decided to let it happen to see if it would go down similar to what happened between them. They were ready to intervene, but they let it happen, and it ended up working. So he has a decent awareness, but not full control. So that's going to be what Raditz, Goku, and Gohan are going to train in, especially since Raditz reveals he can pull off the Power Ball technique. And this is where Goku decides, like, yeah, we're going to start with this. I'm going to teach you how to do it internally so you don't have to sacrifice as much energy. And that's going to be their training. And then the humans are going to train under Kami once they've gotten Mark and Yajirobe up to speed, in their opinion. When they can handle 5 times Earth's gravity, they'll be training under Kami and bringing the gravity chamber with them. Kami is going to also be instructing Goku and Raditz. He's going to be helping Raditz attain the power of the Ikari. He's not going to be able to teach him any magic in this amount of time. Nothing too truly useful, but maybe enough to help him get a better control and to properly get himself into the form. So he's going to be able to actually access it. And Chi-Chi and Piccolo are going to be the ones sent to King Kai's training. They're going to be the ones sent to complete King Kai's training. With their power levels, they're going to be able to clear it in like less than a day, especially if Chi-Chi ends up allowing her. If Chi-Chi transforms, if Chi-Chi ends up transforming, her and Piccolo are definitely going to be able to fly across Snake Away in like less than a day, and they're more than used to 10 times Earth gravity. So they're going to be training on King Kai's to learn the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. They get there pretty early, and they end up making the joke. Piccolo's definitely more lighthearted, so the two of them are able to make the joke, and he has them begin their training in learning how to use the Spirit Bomb and in how to use the Kaioken. And in order to make it a bit more difficult, he has them use extremely heavy weighted clothing to really make the difference, since they're already used to the Kaioken, which does make things a little difficult, but he knows he's going to run out of things to teach him. So as they begin their training over the course of the first few months, he ends up pulling some strings to get to get some Yardratians here so that they can learn about spirit control and to possibly help them evolve the abilities of Spirit Bomb and Kaioken, which is really going to be helpful. They're going to learn Chi-Chi specifically is going to be able to learn. They're going to be able to learn all them spirit techniques. They learn how to use Spirit Force, Spirit Fission to help them gather energy for a Spirit Bomb in battle, so they don't have to worry about standing still. They can attack an opponent and charge up a Spirit Bomb off in the distance. They learn Piccolo specifically learns healing, and they also both learn cloning so that they can make better use of that multiform technique that Tien showed them. Uh, and we'll say that they both learn instant transmission. And Piccolo also learns the gigantification technique to improve his own. So it gives them a more solid increase of 3.5 times. And this is going to be what they're going to be spending their whole year learning. Maybe they learn fusion so that they can teach it to the humans when they get back, just in case they need to, for Frieza. They know that they're going to be facing these Saiyans almost immediately, but depending on how their training goes, they may end up leaving early so that they can teach these techniques to everyone else. And King Kai does give them permission for this. He knows that they're preparing to face Frieza, which he considers suicidal, but he's also seen their growth, and he knows their current level of power, and after seeing specifically Chi-Chi and Piccolo grow directly in front of him, he does have some level of confidence. So he allows them to teach their techniques specifically to the humans and Goku. He's not really sure about Raditz just yet, but he does allow them to teach it to the humans, to teach it to the God of Earth, to allow Piccolo to teach it to the God of Earth, to allow Chi-Chi to teach it to the humans, the Yardrat techniques and the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb, and to also teach it to her husband. Goku ends up instructing Raditz over the course of like the first 6 months to learn how to transform in and out of the Great Ape at will without sacrificing any power, which he's able to get down. Gohan at this point has gained control over the form, and maybe Videl has finally learned how to fly on her own. She's getting decently stronger, thanks to all the stories that Goku and Chi-Chi have told him, has learned about the divine spirit water and was able to talk. Her and Gohan were able to talk Korin into letting them drink it, which Goku ended up catching them. But he talked to Mark, and then he ended up getting into contact with Chi-Chi. And over the course, after a few days of back and forth, they decided to allow them. They both are able to ride the Nimbus, so they know that they'll be able to survive it. And they end up taking the drink, and it's definitely going to be helping them in their growth going forward, especially for Gohan, since it gives them a bit more of a connection to his great ape, similar to how it did with Goku. And after 6 months, the humans decide that they're ready to finally begin their training under Kami, so they go up to the lookout. They do definitely struggle with the high atmosphere, especially with Yajirobe, Chaozu, and Mark, but they begin their training with the specially weighted clothing and magically enchanted to drain their energy, so that they have to learn how to properly manage it. And Raditz is also undergoing this training. He has especially made weighted armor and gi pants. He's gonna look like, if he searched up what if Raditz turned good, he's gonna have that kind of look. With the gi pants, his normal gauntlets, and like the no shoulder pad armor in his same colors as before. He's gonna be learning. The armor and the gi is made specifically to also drain his energy, so he's gonna be learning more refined ki control. He's gonna learn ki sensing and all that stuff, and Kami ends up setting it up so that at the end of every month going forward for these next few months. Yeah, so hold on. They end up arriving. They arrive November. So I think it's about like 11 months. 11 to 12 months of training. So like for the next few months, at the end of every month, the humans and everyone are all sent in. Kami has also modified it so that groups of people can enter in at a time. If he did need it, he probably would have used the wish on the Dragon Ball to change it to make it so that there was enough like infinite food, so they wouldn't never have to worry. And this is enough. Sorry, hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, had to check something, but that's enough for them. At the end of every month, they're going to be taking a trip into the time chamber, and they're not going to be going in for more than 3 months at a time. They don't want to over prepare, but yeah, they end up getting a total extra year, specifically for the humans, but also for Gohan and Videl to help. Not they don't end up doing. They only end up making 2 trips, and they only go for 3 months. So they end up getting an extra 6 months, whereas the humans end up getting about an extra year's worth of training. And same for Goku and Raditz, but that's just more to speed up his development on his Akari form, which he does end up getting access to, and a decent level of mastery. He can turn it on and off. Again, similar to how Goku at this point basically has the full power Super Saiyan version of it. He's able to constantly hold it on at all times. And Raditz is basically at a near. He's near around like what Goku had after training on Yardrat. He can turn it on and off without it messing with his head too much. He doesn't have to worry about it infecting his heart and messing with his headspace. And Raditz is definitely bonded with everyone. He's become an uncle to surprisingly both Gohan and Videl, or Daikon as he calls him. He's become an uncle to the both of them. He's helped Gohan in finally managing to transform and detransform on command from base to Great Ape without needing to sacrifice any power. Him and Goku have helped him reach that point. And he's shown brief instances where he's able to flash into the Akari state, but it's nothing too substantial. Um, and him and Videl aren't going to be on the battlefield. They're not going to let him. They're going to be here on the lookout with Kami when the battle goes down. But they're there just in case anything goes wrong. Kami and them will move on to the battlefield. They'll be helping to remove anyone from the battlefield and um, lend any support they can to Kami if they need to. The humans ended up taking the Ultra Divine Water as well so that they can power up as much as possible. Because again, they're aiming to take down these Saiyans in their Great Ape state, similar to how they were initially training to potentially face off against Goku in his Akari state. That was always in their mind when they were training for like the World Martial Arts tournaments. Here they're training just in case they need to face off against Great Apes. And here's the thing. Piccolo and Chi-Chi definitely finished their training early. With their both understandings of like magical energies and refined ki control, they're able to get down the spirit control techniques very well. And they end up heading back after 8 months of total training, or 9 months, so that they have about 2 to 3 months to prepare everyone on Earth. And this is where everything is going to change for everyone. So after 9 months of training, this is where everyone is going to be. Um, Goku was able to jump from his 420 power level all the way up. Yeah, he was able to jump from like a 420, 416 all the way to 8,000. Yeah, he was able to jump up all the way to 8,000, 8,100, just over 8,000. So that in and of itself is like a 20 times increase in terms of power. I think giving Chi-Chi and Piccolo a 20 times increase in power would be a low ball, but considering that they're so used to 10 times gravity, having each other as sparring partners and learning spirit control, I'll give Chi-Chi a 22 times increase and Piccolo a 25. Times 22 puts her at, I'm going to just round that up to 86,000. So Chi-Chi's going to be at 86,000. And Piccolo is going to, I'm going to give him the same 22 times increase. Or I'll give him an 8, Let's see. Yeah, 22. So that he's been training to keep up with everyone's transformed states. And Chi Chi not only has her Princess Ox or Queen Ox state, which she's now perfected completely so that it doesn't drain her stamina, she can also now use the Kaioken. Piccolo can use it to a higher multiplier thanks to his regeneration and healing, and just Namekian biology. But he's going to receive the same increase, 300,300. And if you're mad with these power levels, go look at them fan fictions where they have Goku as a legendary Super Saiyan, or where they have all the Saiyans. What if the Saiyans were good by Salad Saiyan? They were insane power levels. There are plenty of other fan fictions where they reach insane power levels by around this point. But they're preparing for the ultimate overkill. Goku's gonna receive a solid, we'll say, 12 times increase in terms of power. He's not so much focused on his own training as he is training everyone else, but he's training with people strong enough, specifically in Raditz. He's able to grow quick enough, and Gohan with his brief flashes of rage and hidden potential, that he's able to increase his own power. And he's definitely training with Kami as well. Kami and him are personally training against one another. In his he'll be training in his Ikari state against Kami to properly master it. So 7,000 7375 times 15, or yeah, 12, sorry, by 12, 88,500. So still a little bit ahead of his wife, but yeah, she has Kaioken, and on top of her princess state, she can pull out a similar level to what Goku was able to do at this point. You might be like, that's too low, but there is still some level of stress of using Kaioken on top of transformations. It splits her focus more than anything else. Spirit Control has helped her nullify most of the drawbacks physically, but in terms of concentrating, it's definitely difficult. So she can hold times 2 with absolute ease. Times 3 is where she should keep it at her. That's her safe limit. Times 4 is her hard limit, which already gives her an increase of over 20 times her base. But yeah, Piccolo can probably handle up to, as he is now, can handle a times 10 Kaioken. If Goku in canon could probably handle a times 10 Kaioken with his power level of 90,000, Piccolo can definitely handle a times 10 Kaioken, jumping up to 15 as like his safe limit and times 20 as his ultimate limit. Kami has also increased his own power level. Again, we'll say he's increased by another 10 times so that he can keep up with Goku's own power, and he trains with Great Ape Raditz and Gohan whenever Gohan loses it. So he still needs to be the sparring partner to Ikari Goku. So 600 to 50,000, greater than Piccolo in terms of base to base and greater technique, but he loses in terms of power when Piccolo pulls out his Kaioken. Now, Yajirobe and all the humans. The humans were able to make an increase of, similar to where Goku was, during the Raditz saga, they were all in the 200s. Yeah, with the strongest being Tien at 250. And they were then able to jump all three of them, except for Chiaotzu. They were able to cross the 1,000 level, the 1,000 barrier. So sorry for that brief pause, but in regards to the humans, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to judge, but they were able to make a 5 to 6 times increase in terms of their power level, with greater gravity chaining that can go up to probably times 25, so that they can keep up with what Chi-Chi and Piccolo are doing, or just around times 10 just with increased weights. Depends on how it all goes down, but either way, they're getting increased gravity training, 3 months visits, regular 3 months visits to the Room of Spirit and Time after their 6 months period, and it ends up adding from about an extra 6 months to an almost whole extra year worth of training. So at the very least, they're getting from 20 to 22 months worth of training from this entire thing. Or at least at this point, by the time they get back, they would probably be at around six extra months on top of the 8 months that they're at. That would put them around 14 months of training at this point. So they are seeing some sizable increases of their own. I'll put Yajirobe and Mark, they'll be at around the same power level. I'm gonna just put them at a solid 8,000. Yajirobe's gonna no, I'm gonna give them 10 times increases each. Solid 10 times increases by this point. So Yajirobe is now Yajirobe is now 9,000. Yajirobe is now 9,500. Mark is just going to be at 7,850. Just to even that, or 740. Sorry. Chatsu is gonna. This is where he ends up falling behind, but he makes up for it with magical based abilities. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about that. Just had to help my brother real quick. But yeah, Chatsu's definitely going to be seeing the least amount of growth, sadly. But he is able to help with some supplemented magical abilities that he's learning from Kami. And yeah, he'll be learning more to manipulate the elements and like provide debuffs to his enemies, all that kind of stuff. Making the ultra weighted clothing that also eats away at your ki on his enemies, so that's going to be cool. So he'll be jumping, I'll say, a solid 5 times increase from his 1700. So maybe times 5 or 7. Let's see, 5, 8,500. That's enough. 8,500. Still technically puts him above Mark. Poor him. But that's about to change with the training they're gonna go through when they all get back. Yamcha and Krillin again. They're gonna be seeing Yamcha, Krillin, and Tien are going to be seeing around the most increase in terms of power. And this is where I'm going to be referring more to the Daizenshu, since it's going to be similar to what they were doing in canon, just more of it. Hold on, give me 1 second to go on ahead and take a look at something. Okay, so yeah, like I said, they're doing about the same training, but at a higher intensity and with more training partners. So they'll be seeing more of a. I almost want to give them a similar 20-ish increase, but even I think that would be too drastic. So here is what we're going to do. We are going to increase the percentage on top of each one. So Yamcha will be getting a 12. We'll give him about a 12 times increase, similar to what Goku ended up experiencing. Yeah, he'll get about a 12 times increase in terms of power. So 2125 times 12, 25,500. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's see, 1,700. Okay. Yeah, 1,700 is good enough for now. Or sorry, 17,000. Or is it? Was I reading that wrong? 78? 17,000. Yeah, 17,000. Krillin will be seeing about the same times increase. 19,000. Okay, not bad, Krillin. Getting strong. He's about as strong as he was when he got that boost from Guru. Definitely stronger. And Tien 2688. We're gonna give him the solid 10 times increase. He's definitely as always. He's just putting in not so much that he's trying harder. He's just putting in more intensity. He's pushing himself harder than anyone else is. So 26,880. He's definitely the strongest of the humans. And they've practically mastered all their power-up forms. The pump-up techniques for Yamcha and Krillin, and Tien with his Austro state, and maybe Mark ends up learning the pump up technique, but he hasn't made it as efficient just yet. He's close, but he hasn't made it as efficient just yet. So he can use the pump up technique. It gives them all their 60% increases, and they practically erase the flaws. Practically. Ooh, everyone is so powerful. And, oh, yeah, let me go on ahead and mention Videl and Gohan. So, let me see. Videl is easily the weakest one here. I'm gonna give her, what did Gohan have? 1080. 1080. The high intensity training, even from a young age, what would normally be crippling for her, being helped by drinking the ultra divine spirit water, and just being surrounded by everyone. As they end up explaining, if you have a proper goal, if you're able to sense the energy, if you're able to have a proper goal, it helps with your training. If you know what it is you're training to achieve. And she's been trying to keep up with Gohan. So we'll just put her at Gohan's canon of 1080. Is it OP? Is it Mary Sue? Probably. Whatever. I don't care enough. 1080 isn't going to mean anything to any of these people, to anyone going forward. She's stronger than any of them ever were before. How much they can acknowledge, except for like the humans. But yeah, it's not gonna be too much of a game changer. It's Gohan everyone needs to be wary of. Gohan made an increase from about a 10, a 2 or a 10 to 1080 in canon. Starting off from a power level of 50, some level of experience with the Great Ape, and getting so much focused training from his father and all of his martial arts masters. He is OP, or you know what, I'm gonna put Videl at like, what's the weakest power level here? 610? Is it Chaozu 6? I'm gonna put her at like Chaozu's weak at 610. Yeah, Videl 610 at like age 6. Ridiculous, yes. Do I care? Not really. They still had like these teenagers pulling off the craziest of stuff. And if Pan with 3/4 human blood is able to be as powerful as she is, fly around as an infant, it's really not the most. Again. There's a reason she's so powerful. It's because she's 3/4 Videl, not because she's 1/4 Gohan. But Gohan, I'm gonna put him at Goku's canon of 8100. Gohan is at a power level of 8100, which puts him above Chaozu, but puts him below almost all of the humans. Which to them kind of makes sense. He is Goku's prodigy son, or this is what he would be if he didn't drink the Ultra Divine Spirit Water. With it, I'm gonna just put him at twice as strong, so 16,200, which puts him, in terms of power level, he's just about able to keep up with the humans. But he's also able to turn into a Great Ape on command, which far trumps their various transformations, their own human-based transformations. So definitely more powerful. And then Chi-Chi and Piccolo returned from their training to share their techniques with everyone. Why not? They ended up learning fusions from some Metamorians so that they could pass something on to the humans as well. Nah, that a little too early. A little too early would make them too OP. They'd surpass Super Saiyans. No. He thought about it, but he thinks that what they have is enough. They're overkill enough as it is. Maybe there's no kill quite like overkill, but it's enough. It's enough. I'm not doing thousands times thousands. That would definitely put them far above Frieza, even as they are. So let's see. They end up taking some more time to go in the chamber. Whenever they end up spending the time outside of the chamber for these next few months, teaching them in spirit control. So they'll spend like a month of training them in spirit control, and Chi-Chi is also training Videl and Gohan in Spirit Control, but she's not going to be teaching them the techniques of Kaioken or Spirit Bomb. Well, maybe Spirit Bomb, but she's definitely not training them in Kaioken. Um, oh wait, did I mention Raditz? Am I that stupid? Raditz. Okay, we're gonna have Raditz. Raditz jump from what his power level of like I had. He was like at 1,200. 1,220. 20 times. I will give him 15 times increase in power. 1830. Or 18,300. Sorry. 18,300. Which he feels comfortable with. He's practically equal with Vegeta. I feel like I should definitely make him stronger. No. He'll be seeing... What would a 20 times increase look like? 24,400. Puts him above the humans. Why not? 24,400. 24,400. Weaker than even Chi-Chi, but stronger than all of the humans, which is something he's comfortable with. This is his brother's wife. This is Kakarot's wife. He would be kind of disappointed if she wasn't stronger. But they are all insanely OP. Everyone is. And Chi-Chi's about to teach them all the best techniques that they could possibly get. So, final 2 to 3 months with an extra 9 months stacked on top, they get about an extra year's worth of training. Again, not so much for Videl and Gohan, but they are going to learn Spirit Control and the all the techniques and stuff that they've been practicing, as well as the Spirit Bomb. We'll say that Videl ends up learning how to pick up healing, since she knows she's basically going to be put on support. She might as well. She can learn healing and Force Spirit Fission to help with the Spirit Bomb. And Gohan is able to learn how to use Gigantification, because he's already used to growing in size due to the Great Ape. He learns how to use Gigantification, or not, because then he wouldn't need it. Okay, whatever. He's not going to need it. He'll learn how to use the same moves, healing and Force Spirit Fission, and they both. Gohan ends up being the one to properly learn how to use the Spirit Bomb in the small amount of time that they're going to have. Videl can't quite use it, but she knows how to use Force Spirit Fission so that she can help Gohan in forming it if they need to. Chi-Chi's going to be increasing her multiplier just by a bit, just so that she can stabilize herself with a 5 times increase in terms of Kaioken. And Goku's also going to learn how to use the Kaioken with the months inside of the time chamber. Learns how to use a similar level up to 5 times in his transformed state. And Piccolo can more properly use 15 times as his safe and 20 times as his soft limit, and up to 30 if he absolutely needs to. All the humans, they learn how to use the Kaioken. Mark is able to properly use the pump up technique. Yajirobe actually has a surprising affinity for the Kaioken, despite the strain it should put on him. And they all learn a variety of techniques. Tien and Krillin learn how to use the cloning technique. Yamcha learns Force Spirit Fission and the Spirit Bomb, so he can essentially power up his Spirit Ball. It's more like a less powerful. It's gonna come all together. He can use the Spirit Bomb like how he can use the Spirit Ball now, and he learns Force Spirit Fission. They all do, so that they can end up helping if they need to form a giant Spirit Bomb, which is like their ultimate trump card. But Yajirobe learns how to use it. He also learns how to use Gigantification. Mark learns how to use the cloning and Force Spirit Fission. Chaozu learns how to use Gigantification, healing, and cloning. Yamcha learns how to use, like I said, Force Spirit Fission and cloning. Krillin learns how to use the Force Spirit Fission, cloning, and gigantification, as does Tien. And Goku learns all of the techniques, including instant transmission, same that Piccolo and Chi-Chi have been able to develop. And he learns all of them. He learns gigantification, cloning, gigantification, cloning, Force Spirit Fission, and healing. And he learns how to use the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. Raditz learns how to use gigantification. Yeah, he learns gigantification, Force Spirit Fission, and the Kaioken. And all the humans learn how to use Kaioken except for Chaozu. Or maybe he can pull off a ×2. But yeah, Yajirobe is able to they're able to increase all of their power levels. So Yajirobe ends up getting a solid 10 times increase, 95,000. Mark is also able to make a 12 times increase, so 70, 78, 40 times 12, 9480. Ooh, 94,080. 94,080. So just about equal with Mark. Chaozu only ends up getting an 8 times increase, so 68,000. The spirit control is really helping him with his abilities. So 68,000, and can pull off a ×2 increase max with his Kaioken. Mark has probably learned how to use his pump up technique. Yamcha, Krillin, and Tien, they've been pushing their bodies to the limits recently, so they're only going to get about a 5 times increase each. So Yamcha ends up, what? Instead of jumping up to 17,000 times 5, 85,000. Krillin is at a 95,000. And if you might think it's weird that Yajirobe is stronger, they still have their pump up techniques, and they can use the Kaioken on top of it. And Tien is going to jump up to... wait, hold on. Tien is going to jump up from his 26,880 to... Let's see, that would put him at 134,400. 134,400. And like I said, they can use their power up techniques to increase by 60%, and then here is going to be their respective increases in terms of power level. Yajirobe, he's not the best with spirit control, so he can only manage a 10 times increase from his Kaioken. Mark, with the use of his pump up technique, can only manage 60%, 8 times increase. Chaozu's at around a 2. Yamcha can push it around to a similar level of around 10 times, as can Krillin, and Tien is able to push it to the farthest with around a 15 times Kaioken. Now, as for the really OP people, Piccolo ends up teaching the technique to Kami, as well as transferring all the knowledge of the spirit control techniques. He's going to receive another solid... I don't want to give him a 10 times increase. He mainly makes use of the spirit control techniques. I'm just going to give him an increase of 2. Shit, that would put him across the million, though. Yeah. That's not too crazy, though. This is Kami, the reunited one. So, yeah, just a solid 2 times increase. So, 1.3 million. Piccolo is going to make his own 4 times increase. So times 4, 1.2 million. This can put him at a 1.2 million. So he's just behind his mentor and father figure, but he can use a higher level of Kaioken. He can use that times 20, or that times 20 is around his soft limit. Times 30 is his hard limit. That's the highest he can push it. And the reason he can achieve a higher Kaioken is due to his spirit control and his Namekian biology. That's why he can achieve a higher Kaioken despite Goku in canon being able to reach a times 20 as his hard limit with a 3 million power level. Raditz is going to be seeing the most growth out of this group of the stronger power levels. Raditz is going to jump up. I would have him jump up around 10 times 244,000. Yeah, 244,000. That's going to be his power level. Goku is going to make, let's say, a 5 times increase in power, but he can now use up to a Kaioken times 5 safely on top of his transformation, since he's adapted it almost to his base form. And Chi-Chi learns from this and it does the same thing with her Ox Queen state, so that she can better stabilize her times 5 Kaioken on her transformation. So Goku is going to make a 5 times increase, putting him at Goku's going to be 5 times increase, 885,000. Chi-Chi is able to make 885. That's not correct. It should be 400 and what's half of 85? That would mean this would be 4,400 and 442,500. Yeah, that should be it, right? Yeah, 442,500. Chi-Chi ends up making a similar 5 times increase in terms of power. As a human, she's definitely starting to hit her limit, but she is still going strong. So, similar 5 times increase, 86, 430,000. 430,000. Gohan makes a 10 times increase would put him above almost all the humans. So yeah, this is where he ends up surpassing the humans, a 10 times increase, 162,000. And Videl, making use of all of the spirit control training, is able to double her power level to 1220. She's literally Raditz. She's the same level as a Cyberman. Yeah, so she's the same level of a Cyberman. And like I said, Chi-Chi can use her Ox Queen state to garner a 5.5 times increase and can use a 5 times Kaioken on top of that. And with all of her experience, she can also push it to a times 10 just in case, which actually lets her surpass Goku, since right now he can only manage a solid 5 times Kaioken on top of his Hikari. He's practically mastered it, but his level of experience isn't high enough to double it into a times 10 when he needs to. And just to make things clear, the battle against the Saiyans is a complete wash. They literally allow them. They allow They end up planning the Cybermen, and they're easily dispatched by Chaozu. Chaozu is able to use his own psychic abilities and is able to cause them to explode right then and there. And they all Chaozu, Yajiro, all of the humans raise their power level and causes all of the scouters to explode, which infuriates them. So Nappa and Vegeta, and Nappa, it says he has a max power level around 7,500. So Nappa and Vegeta both transform into the Great Ape, and faced with this 75,000, 180,000 in terms of power level, the humans all enter their pump up techniques, their power up techniques. Yajirobe just goes into Kaioken times two, and Chaozu ends up ends up moving back so that he can use his psychic abilities to hold them all off. And from the distance, Goku, Chi-Chi, and Piccolo are just watching as the battle commences. It is very easy. They're easily able to cut off Nappa's tail using a Kianzan, which Krillin has properly perfected and is able to use with frightening ease. No need to charge it up. He's able to instantly just launch one out, completely cuts off his tail, and Chaozu is able to make quick work of him. Using martial arts, he doesn't have to rely on his psychic abilities, all of his magic and stuff. He's able to just take him out with martial arts physically. That's how powerful he is now. He's able to put Nappa on the ground and just paralyzes him using his abilities. Vegeta almost tries to blow him away for this disrespect, but Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien are not letting that happen. Tien, with his 60% increase, easily surpasses Vegeta's 180,000. He forced Nappa to use the Powerball technique, and he's able to match him just using his Ashura state. Whenever he goes into Kaioken, he's able to deal very decisive, powerful blows that send him stumbling back. Eventually, they use a solar flare and are able to cut off his tail, much like they did with Nappa, and yeah, they're able to handle him pretty easily. And Raditz and Goku end up confronting the two of them. They explain what their plan is. They plan to take down Frieza. They can help them, they can join them, or they can leave and never return. Uh, Frieza ended up reading the power levels briefly and kind of wants to go to Earth, but he's already set his way towards Namek, which is closer. It's only about a few months travel from where he is rather than the year it would take him to get to Earth. So they end up traveling towards. Frieza still decides to go to Namek so that he can get his hands on the Wish Orbs and use the Dragon Balls there. And Kinkai ends up telling him about this, and they're fine with that. They already have a plan. They had asked Bulma a while ago to use Kami's old ship and Raditz's own ship, and now these two ships, because they're basically holding Vegeta and Nappa hostage as they recover, to form a proper ship to carry the majority of them, which is probably just going to be Goku, Piccolo, and Chi-Chi. The humans are going to be staying behind to protect planet Earth just in case. But Goku, Piccolo, and Chi-Chi are going to be heading out to Namek with Vegeta and Nappa and Raditz. Sorry, Raditz as well. Can't forget him. He's part of the story now. But they're going to be going with they're going to be heading out with they're going to be heading out to Namek. Kami kind of wants to go as well, but he trusts Piccolo. Even if he does miss his home, he wants Piccolo to actually be able to get a proper experience for it. And yeah, that's going to be about where we're ending. Everyone is OP and is ready to face off against Frieza. They're hoping to just go straight for him and take out the Frieza Force. They're going to be getting there earlier. They're going to be getting there around about the same week that it would have taken Goku to get there. And they're definitely going to be having some gravity training. The ship goes up to around 200 times gravity instead of just 100. Can go up around 200 to 250. Probably 250. I'll just have it be 250 times gravity for the ship. It's larger, is able to accommodate more people, and they're all ready to go on ahead and go out to Namek. Gohan wants to go, but is convinced into staying behind. He's powerful, but he's going to be missing out on some of his development that he would have had otherwise. Or is he? We'll see. We'll see if he does. But yeah, that's where we're going to end off here. The group of Goku, Chi-Chi, Raditz, Piccolo, and reluctantly Nappa and Vegeta, after being force-fed a sense of being and forced into going along with them, are going to be heading out to planet Namek to gather the Dragon Balls there, to protect them from Frieza, and to prepare for him arriving on the planet. That's where I'm going to go on ahead and end off this part of What If Grandpa Gohan Survived. Surprisingly amount of ripples, But everyone is OP, everyone is getting ready, and King Kai is going to be watching all of this go down. That's where we're going to end it. So like, comment, subscribe if you like it. Hit that notification bell if you want more. Go on ahead and leave me with any criticisms, any points that I may have missed, any potential plot holes that may be in my story. If not, then go on ahead and let me know if you liked it or not. And if you just want to be an ass, just don't comment. Go on ahead, go find something else to do with your time. Have a good day, all of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.